Worthington,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick,
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here.
Welcome all. And we're glad we've got enough seats for you all to be sitting up there at a table, because the general government meetings, we truly do want to make them more of a discussion.
They can even be up here.
It's the and we like being at the other table, but unfortunately, because of audio visual and all that kind of stuff, it kind of forces us up here. But so Ryan, are you going to lead us off on?
It's me.
It's you.
It's
Thank
fine.
you very much.
I won't put Ryan on that spot. Tonight we're here to talk about the retail liquor establishment permit. This is not something that we've had in the past. This is something that the state passed in August. A lot of our businesses have been asking for this, or trying to find different ways that they could do what this permit will allow businesses to do. It is only for small businesses, 25 employees or less. So it really does help some of our small businesses out. It's not cost prohibitive. It's $100, I think, for the state a year, and we have to set ours for here, but it's a smaller amount, and that's for 24 different times that they could have, that they could give out free liquor during their business hours during the year. It would start, I think we go year to year calendar, not from January to December, but from when they do their first one through the next year. I think that would make the most sense with something that we're talking about at this time of year. I actually already have somebody who's really excited and hoping we get it through so that they can use it in December, because of activities that they want to do. And it's cheaper to do this than partner with a nonprofit, which is $100 a time, which makes it a lot different. And so Ryan and I have been hitting the pavement and talking to people. I personally went to people that had asked me previously, if they could do these things. And, as I had to tell them, sorry, no, you can't. So I talked to them, and some of them could not be here tonight because of previous commitments. Nelson's Jewelry was really excited about it. Bella Capelli, the Gift Chateau, they all were very for it. They just could not be here tonight. And then Ryan hit everybody else, God bless him, and did a lot of walking on the street for me. And I think we got to everybody on Main Street, all the businesses we could down 9th Street that fit this parameters of being a retail establishment, because there's very specific things about, you have to be retail, you have to have certain things, you have to have so many, less than so many employees. And so far, I think 98% of it's been positive. A few said we have no interest in it, but we're not against it. And so overall, very positive. I know for me personally, it would be a great way, because just this week I had to put the kibosh on one activity because of a liquor issue, and help another one figure a way to have a nonprofit come in at the, because they're a month out, and again, they didn't have a way to get a permit. And so I helped them get to a nonprofit so they could pair, trying to be creative. And it would just help some of those businesses that just want to do little special things. And I think like their work anniversary, how many years they've been open, is one that I've been asked about a lot. We just want to have a celebration because it's our 15th year. And I'm like, I'm sorry, there's not much. But so I was really excited, one, that the state considered this, because we've been asking for it for quite some time. So I was really kind of shocked when it came up all of a sudden. And it's a pretty simple form that you'd fill out. It's a state form. You don't have to choose all 24 dates at one time. They can give them to me as they decide on them. And I just redo their license. No big deal. We do about the same thing right now with tasting licenses and with art permits. And so it goes around those same kind of lines. And so everything I felt that we've talked about and talked to people has been very positive. And I don't think the cost is crazy. Especially when you look at it 24 times over a year. And I think it would be something very positive for us.
And I do have a question before we throw it open here, and that is, this would be a commercial transaction, not a donation. situation, is that correct?
They have to give it away free.
Have to give it away.
They
free.
cannot have any money for it.
And it's not a tasting situation where you're limited on quantity.
They are limited on quantity, but it's not tasting. It's actually a full size, but they are limited on, you're not going to see these kind of bottles being filled with stuff. So it does have limitations on that. It was listed in your memo from the attorneys. Yeah.
Hi, I can jump in here. My name's Elizabeth Laboon. I'm from Catherine Seller's office. So the maximum serving sizes are 12 ounces for beer, 5 ounces for wine, and 1.5 ounces for spirits.
And the spirits can be mixed then with a mixed drink. And I just wanted to
Sure.
underscore what Clerk Foster Owens mentioned. All of those parameters are actually required by the state. So we don't actually, like, we can't say more than 24. We can't say, you could have more employees than 25. All of those are actually spelled out in the state legislation. So just wanted to underscore that.
Thank you. And so with that, any comments or other questions or discussion from our panel up here?
Mostly just a thank you for boots on the ground and getting out and talking to everybody. I'm really impressed and grateful that you did that.
And would any of you like to comment on this?
That's correct. So can you just pull the microphone, either one, so we can hear you.
Okay, so would it be limited to just like one beer, one glass, or not on?
Hey,
There you go.
Now everybody else
so
can hear you.
would it be limited to just like one glass of wine or that?
I see. This was discussed in our clerk, we have a
Mhm.
group, and I have not seen that it's limited to one. I'm not sure, if the attorney has any difference on that.
Oh, Cindy.
Cindy, your
Sorry.
microphone's on.
If you've understood if there was any difference on if you are limited to one or if you're able to do more, and I thought it was more, but again, I hadn't read anything definitively on that.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's my understanding that these are serving sizes, not limiting your overall service. I can double check the statute on that. I don't see anything in my notes in front of me. I just see the individual serving sizes.
That's what I thought too. So it would be your choice as the person in charge of the store.
So it would be up to us as individual business owners as to how much we would allow someone to have.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow.
Especially
you're-
how much to give it out for free. I think
Right,
that would be
yeah.
the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not
That's
gonna,
such a big one, yeah.
yeah, we're not gonna have open bar.
Good.
So if the retail establishment is allowed to do this, okay, are they still under the same guidelines like as bars and tasting rooms and things, to where if they overserve somebody who gets in an accident, they would be responsible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
All the
that-
rules.
What would the liability insurance, how would that work?
That was gonna be my next question is, so I had inquired on the liquor license for my business at one point, and the licensing process was actually relatively inexpensive, but the liability insurance was unaffordable.
Right.
So I guess that would be my question, would be, are we going to be requiring the same level of insurance that we require for liquor licenses?
That's going to be a question. I'm not sure because I don't ever have to deal with the insurance part of that. I'm not sure if the attorneys, that's out of my realm. I never have to look at insurance for liquor licenses.
I would imagine that there would be some heightened requirements, not as much as for your typical liquor license. But that's something I would need to look into further.
Yeah, I would imagine insurance wise, if you're only doing it 24 times a year, that would be a different type of policy that hopefully would be more affordable.
Well, and really, the process of obtaining the license for my establishment was to gift liquor, not sell. So the notion of paying this astronomical numbers of insurance was not cost effective for the situation.
Right. And I
But-
think it's probably different because I know the arts permits, the art permit has been around for quite some time. And I've never heard from those groups that their insurance has been prohibitive for them to do. So we have 2 or 3 groups that have used the art permits over the past few years. So.
Because as far as insurance, liquor liability insurance is generally based on how much business you do. what are your sales? And so, and that's how it all kicks in. And so, if you're giving it away, then they can't really monetize it. I would think that you'd want to have something just as a safety, just maybe an increased amount, a mildly increased amount, because then, but you would be, you'd have to be careful with the overinsurance, and that it's something that's definitely going to come up as far as this whole thing is concerned. Somebody pulls out of your place and they've been sneaking drinks on their own and they have an accident and they come back and sue your classic furniture. That my insurance right now just went up to $21,000 a year for my business. Well, it's the whole thing, but it just doubled.
And one thing we do is the Department of Revenue comes down twice a year and does training here, and we will make sure that any establishment that uses it will be invited to those trainings. Just gives you good ideas of what to look for and how to not overserve people.
So Cindy, on the forms that you deal with, is there some line item or something that deals with whether a particular entity has liability insurance or not?
No, sir, that is not required by the state for them to have. That would be just required for the business to cover themselves.
Yes, so it's really a personal or business issue as opposed to licensing issue.
Correct.
Yep,
As-
that's
as
on
I
that's on the establishment acquiring the permit.
Yep.
And I can see that to get started, there may be a collision between getting training for servers, because servers will still have to be trained. Is that correct? Or is that not correct?
They are not required by the state to do any specific training. We always suggest that they do, just because it helps you. Some insurances give you breaks if you do these trainings. Some see that, as when it's coming from the Department of Revenue, but it is not required. The only ones that have required server training is the liquor stores and tastings.
Thank you.
So, John, one question.
Sure.
So would we be, as the business owner, be required to be the ones serving? Because I know sometimes they just put a big decanter of sangria out and just serve yourselves, or put the bottles of wine. So are we going to have any kind of rules about how that is served?
There is nothing stated in the law itself. As a business owner, I would have somebody manning it, just my own personal, because I would want to make sure that somebody wasn't over pouring or drinking too much when you're responsible. So I mean, it could be any employee or any person you had that you wanted to be there. Either over the age of 21 or 18 with somebody over the age of 21 as a monitor. But that is, again, up to the business. It is not stated in the actual law.
So it's actually up to us as individual business owners just to be
Yes, ma'am.
careful in what we do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate you guys doing this, because we have heard, people being disappointed that they couldn't serve special things at their open houses or First Fridays. So this is going to be very helpful. We appreciate this.
So
And,
thank you.
yeah, just that you're looking out for some of our needs as small business owners.
Thank Fremont Center for the Arts for serving, a serving paradigm. How it might be done.
Including the tip jar.
That's
Yep.
entirely optional.
That's a donation to the Fremont Center for the Arts. It's not a tip jar for the folks pouring that wine. Trish, I knew you had mentioned some concerns when we first discussed this at City Council. I'm not sure if you wanted to, if you have had a chance to think through any of those, or if those are still concerns.
Still hit it, okay. No, our biggest concern was how it was going to affect the ability to partner with other businesses, and that effect as with all of our wineries and cideries in towns and even surroundings Fremont County. It kind of seems, I see both sides of it as being, you're hurting the small businesses, the cideries, the wineries, by not being able to use those. But I also see the point of allowing the small businesses within these parameters to be able to hold certain things. So I think it's, there's pros and cons no matter how you look at it. But I also think that it's also a benefit that would definitely help small businesses because obviously we only have just a few number of wineries and cideries that have the ability to come and do things as well as run their own businesses. So I do agree that it could be definitely a benefit and still be able to benefit those small businesses that we have throughout the county. So,
But then you can promote those through what
Yeah.
you serve.
yeah.
Right, you can
So
say,
that's-
we're serving at our special
Right.
event locally.
Right.
Yep, and you can, that's totally up to
Right.
the owner how they do
Yeah.
that and where they get it and what they choose.
Right, that's kind of what I was gonna say too, was just, you could, the way our legal guidance is written, you can acquire the alcohol however, but then you could be featuring where it's from and promoting those
Well,
businesses.
maybe
so-
not underground moonshining.
Well, right, and the bathtub gin, no,
That wasn't on the list of allowed.
no.
And I did just want to clarify, Clerk Foster Owens, you can still do that same sort of partnership to where you don't have to buy the cider from
Yeah.
Apple Valley or the wine from
Absolutely.
Hops. You could still have them come in and use their remote sales license.
Absolutely, yeah. Their license is totally separate. You can have this permit and use both because this is only 24 days. And they can do theirs whenever it fits their schedule. So yeah, absolutely, you can use both.
So Cindy, maybe some clarification. I could be wrong about this, but I believe in like 2015, prior to 2015, the law was written to where you could gift liquor. And then there were some rumblings from liquor license holders and they changed that to serving is serving is serving, and that you had to obtain liquor licensing at that point.
That was before my time. I
Okay.
have no idea.
But I think that the rumblings and the reason that they withdrew the gifting was because of licensees being upset with bridal shops and salons and barber shops being able to gift liquor. And that was why they had initially pulled this, because I had received a cease and desist letter in 2015 for what we were doing from the city of Canyon City. So as a liquor license holder, I guess my question would be, is that going to upset them?
No, I think it's good.
Agreed.
Downtown. I think it's good. We can bring people down.
Just playing the little devil's advocate, although I am fully in agreement with.
Well, and I do believe that some people are still doing it because obviously I get calls and quite frequently. And I think some people are really happy because now it can all be done legally.
Right.
And so even the other liquor license are like, no, we want it to just be tracked and more legal and more upfront. And so that will be, I think, will make everybody happier. And I would be
100%.
glad for no more phone
So
calls
there
like those.
almost is underground moonshining happening.
No, we had the hooch under the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions or discussion or?
So you're going to fast track this and hopefully get it done.
For Christmas season.
My
I
goal,
probably won't do it hardly any, but some.
my goal is to, if we would put this on the next city council meeting for the first reading, the first meeting in November would be the second reading. It will be live 5 days later.
Okay.
So that is really my goal, because I really do, I know we have for
Christmas
the
parade.
Christmas, we have a lot of people and I want to get it out there as soon as possible so people can use it.
Good, thank you. Thank you.
This new license would not apply to floats, is that correct?
No floating and drinking, no.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? I think that it's pretty interesting and there's not a recommendation. We are just hearing it in general government but I think it's a thumbs up situation. Is that correct? Correct? It's a thumbs up to take it to city council. Yes.
Emily, do you still have your hand up?
Oh, I was just gonna make a motion if a motion were needed, but if not, that's great.
No motion needed.
And
Thank
we'll be
you.
sure and invite you to all our parties, okay?
Yeah. Thank you for being here. I really
Yeah, we do
it.
appreciate you guys being here tonight.
Thank
I
you
was-
again to Ryan and Cindy as well.
Absolutely. Huge thank you to you guys for making sure that folks knew to come and be able to have their voice heard. I was just curious, the ordinance language itself is very short and straightforward, and I didn't see any things that I thought needed tweaking or changing. But I was wondering, just in terms of the administrative regulations that'll go along behind it, if you had thoughts yet on what those forms would look like, what the cost would be in terms of a city permit and those sorts of things.
The city permit, we were given, it can be between $25 not to exceed $200. On most of ours, we go on the very low end. So I was assuming $25 for the city. The state fee is $93.25. So less than 125 for a year is what I would suggest. I wouldn't suggest going any farther than that. This type of a license does not take a lot of effort. I mean, I have to just redo their license when I get dates. Other than that, it's, they fill out a form, it gets turned in. It's pretty straightforward and simple. There's not a lot of reasons to tell somebody no, as long as they fit those parameters. It should be pretty straightforward and simple for both parties, I'm hoping.
Can we have a requirement that the city clerk lets council know when there's somebody having an event?
Well, you could look on the first Friday. Christie's right there. She puts it together.
One
It'll be
question that
advertised.
just kind of hit, just because I've been a part of with the liquor license and different things with other businesses. I know that with other businesses and liquor license, they have a certain footprint that they're allowed to use. Is this going to be the same requirement? That they can only do it within a certain part of their building? Or even right outside their building, or just
They will
because?
be, what we'll have them do is to do a map basically one time for the whole year where it's gonna be held in that building. So maybe you do it on your patio. That is the enclosed part. And you know, a lot of people have those enclosed patios. As long as I have that in the map. So if the liquor division people come and ask me, I can say, oh, no, it's on here. We've got this all taken care of. Then we're good. So
Okay,
it
yeah,
can be
that's
within the building.
kind of what I was thinking, is because I know that there has to be a certain footprint that you can sell, you can do it here, but you can't do it over here.
Yep.
And so that
Yep.
was one of the things. It's like, for most of the small businesses, it's their building.
Right.
Or the right out front, their building and stuff, but you know,
And I know some
Some people,
places have
you never
people
know.
in or a little area in their back area.
Right.
So as long as I have that on the
As long
map
as it's
and we can
included.
encompass that, we're good.
And I think that's the idea is that whatever footprint is designated will be restricted, liquor will be restricted to that area, that you can't carry it out beyond that or whatever.
And I think you would have to have an enclosure in the front or in the back. You wouldn't be able to just have it on your
Can't take it
patio.
outside. That was my question. It can't be taken
It
outside.
can be on site outside if they have a set area. Yeah, enclosed.
Yeah.
So some people could and some people wouldn't probably want to do that part.
So another,
What the footprint is, your square
Right.
footage, and it is what it is.
Yep.
so are you going to be asking the businesses that apply for this to ask their insurance companies if this is permitted or needs
No,
extra?
the insurance
That's gonna
part
be
has
up to
nothing. That's
us.
just up to the business. Yes.
It'd probably be good to recommend. I mean, because
That-
it's a
yeah.
hard
Absolutely.
thing to do
Yep,
as a
yep.
business owners. So they might not think about that their insurance company would want to know. that
Well,
would be
in
fine.
licensing or insuring specific permitted events are a lot cheaper than a running,
Full time.
like, yeah.
Yeah, it's not only just 24 times, there's only 24 times between like a 3-hour period.
Yep.
Way more
Absolutely. I
affordable.
can add that into the information.
As a recommendation.
Yep.
Okay,
And I would just like to recommend that you say that this was a win for Ryan, since he did all the track work. And so this should go down that we couldn't have done it without him.
Oh, Brian and Cindy, but thank you for that.
Hey, I have to deal with him on Main Street, so don't make his head too big. Just, yeah.
I was very grateful that he did a lot of footwork
Yeah.
on this
Yeah,
one.
it was a great opportunity to go out and meet a lot of business owners that I hadn't had a chance to get introduced to yet and provide them with some good news, right? That this is going in place potentially, and it just puts another tool in their tool belt to create a vibrant scene on Main Street and beyond in Canyon City to be able to draw more people in and foster business. So,
Absolutely. And it's so nice that we have your position, that filled, Ryan, because that's been empty for a long time, and we're glad that that position is filled, so that we have that capacity to be able to make those proactive efforts, because it was really challenging to do that before, so.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
we're
It's
really glad you're
it's
here.
my pleasure. I enjoy getting out and talking to a lot of people. I don't talk a lot in these meetings, but I certainly spend a lot of time out.
You're the
Talking to
one-on-one,
folks.
face-to-face.
Yes.
Make sure we get him some water, some snacks. when he comes by.
Okay, further comments or discussion?
I would just recommend that if folks are interested in finding out where these are, follow Fremont First, follow Fremont 360, follow Downtown Business Alliance, follow the Royal Gorge Chamber Alliance, and that's how you'll find out.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. And with that, we're adjourned.